A question we're often asked here at Brymer Tennis is what separates us out from other academies, and I can tell you that it's our philosophy. There are two essential philosophies, one of which is the coach or coaches start with a predetermined idea of how players should play, into which they try and fit every player whom they coach. We are very different from that. We start with the individual, given that tennis is a unique individual sport, and we look at all the attributes and characteristics of the player, including personality, and we shape a game that is consistent with those attributes and characteristics. And given the fact that each player is unique, we coach player A very differently than player B. So we're all about customization and individualization as opposed to a more formulaic, regimented, one-size-fits-all approach.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of the parent in that whole process?
In the process of player development, no matter what the stage of development, we believe that the parents play an absolutely crucial role. There are three components. Number one, the player. Number two, the coach. And number three, the parent. And I believe that there should be a sharp delineation between the coach and the parent. The parent is essentially the manager. So even though we are highly collaborative, it does become very difficult when you have a parent who doesn't really see themselves as playing the role of the parent. They see themselves more as playing the role of the coach. And then I've seen so often in the past where that dynamic between child and parent goes sour because the child feels as though they've lost a parent, and instead, it's been replaced by a tennis coach. And then when you add into the dynamic that you've got another tennis coach as well, and you get conflict there, the thing goes south in a hurry. So I would say my advice would be for the parent to play an absolutely pivotal role in what's going on, but as a manager, listen to what the child says, listen to what the coach says, and then make a management decision based upon what he or she has heard, but not to really get involved in the technique of the player or the strategic thinking or all of the things that really should be the domain of the coach, and alternatively for the coach not to overstep his or her mark and play the role of the parent. That would be my advice.
One thing that I think makes you unique as a coach, Chris, is that you have a daughter who is very high achieving in a very different world from tennis. She's in the music world, classical music world. Can you discuss the challenges that you have faced personally as the parent of a high achieving child and applying that principle, as you said, of delineating between player, parent, and coach, and what you learned from that?
Certainly, when it comes to whatever discipline, it doesn't matter what it is. You look at sport, for instance, and it's really a microcosm for life. So the same principles apply in sport as they do in any other discipline, whether it's music or whether it's business, you name it, the arts. The principles are exactly the same. So when I was choosing, for example, teachers for my children, I've got 3 children who are classical musicians, I looked for certain things in the teachers that I thought were very, very important for the development of my own children. But having selected those teachers, I then stayed completely out of the development process other than to play a role of support. Because what I wanted to do was instill a sense of independence in my children so that they were making informed decisions for themselves, and then I allowed them to act on them. And they did that wonderfully well. And I also chose teachers that weren't really authoritarian tyrants or dictators. They were more collaborative, where they, even though they took ownership of their students, the student felt as though they were getting great instruction, but it was collaborative, and at the same time they were developing their independent thinking in their own styles. So exactly the same approach I take with my tennis, I let the teachers take with my own children, and I stayed completely out of any sort of advisory role other than to select the teachers in the first place, go along and support the children whenever they gave recitals. I don't think I missed one. And at the end of every one, I just let them know how much I loved listening to them play, and that was it.
Love it.